So that's classic selling, and that's the stuff that gets you sucked into a match. And what I love is when the Midnight Express took over, they were getting beat up the majority of the match, and then when they took over, they threw, oh God, I always confuse them. Gibson's the blonde one, right?
No, Morton.
Okay, yeah, so when they threw Gibson over the top rope, and, they would kind of like putting hands on him, Morton would come running around, and he would just like stop him, and that's totally different because usually then when the face tries to get over to help his partner, the referee stops him, something. Referee literally did jack shit until after it happened. Then he came down and tried to say something, and I'm like, okay, this might be one of those ones that Jim Cornette said, one of the referees who was trying to be a face, so it wouldn't mess up him getting some ass later on. So he was all like, oh, yeah, I'm on the good guy's side. So they can get some later. Because if you watch it, the referee literally let the Rock and Roll get away with damn near anything the whole fucking match. So I was laughing about that one. And the ending, like you said, with Bubba coming out, I like Bubba's move. Bubba when he hit that sidewalk slam, that's a good fact that you can believe that shit hurt. Because when he hit it, it looked kind of sloppy, but you knew it was snug and it was safe as fuck. But it looked brutal. So when he laid out, you were like, "Oh my God, he might have just cracked. He might have hurt him." And then when you put him on top, but I'm with you on the ending though. Them reversing it, that was like totally fucking stupid. Because then it's like stuff like that pisses me off. Because it's like, why the fuck do you do it anyway? Why not just have a disqualification or a count out or something? But why are you gonna jerk everyone around? But then I think they call that the dusty finish. Yeah. Either that's the dusty finish is when when one referee's when they do it was the
and the
referee.
face wins. The dusty finish 9 times out of 10 is when a face wins, and then he loses technically.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you on that one. I didn't like it, but that kind of messed up the ending, like you said, for me. But I do like that they walked the Midnight Express like, fuck you, we're taking the belts, we won, and walk off with it. And they kept it believable because the referee wanted to take the belts back, but Bubba was standing there, so it was like, okay, you can't.
And
get
Stan yanked that belt back too. He was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, and not to mention, if you watch fucking wrestling now, they have the big guy who's supposed to be the bodyguard, but motherfuckers can just walk up and touch the guy who they're supposed to be protecting, and the referee could have just snatched the belt away and all that. It's like that defeats the purpose. This guy is supposed to be big and terrifying that even the referees, they be like, you gotta give belts. Oh, okay, back up. So, but yeah, that was I like they took the belts. I hate that they reversed it, but I guess I understand because then in essence, them reversing it didn't really mess up the Express because they still had the U.S. title, the Midnight Express, because they still had the U.S. tag team titles. But yeah, that did kind of mess it up. The match was fantastic, but the ending messed it up for me. So I know it's going to be rare, but I got to give it a 4.5. It's not. It was the ending.
Like I said,
the ending. I've seen quite a few of their matches that are like pure 100% 5 out of 5 because they were smooth and the endings were like, oh my God, they would have you psyched. No matter if it was oh, they won, the Rock and Roll won, or boo, the Midnight won. But it was just kind of like a cop out, and it was just like that. It kind of took me out of it. It was a good match. That those teams were always crisp. I'm more of a Stan Lane Midnight Express.
Yep, me too.
This Condry, but if you really look at it, actually, you know what? Let me switch that because I like the Dennis Condry better. Because if you look at it, they did more shit that when they talk about getting death threats and all that. That was really during the Dennis Condry time.
Well, some during Stan Lane, not as much as Dennis Condry though days, but definitely.
Yeah, no.
But come on, man, you're telling me because, like I said, as a kid, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 because I was a Midnight Express fan. But as an adult, I see why though, and of course that's your final decision. That's your final decision. I'm just saying that's why I gave it a 5 out of 5 as the grown folk rating because of the fact that you knew. See, that was just them, the booking committee before Herd really fucking took over and fucked everything up, where they were getting ready for Tully and Arn to take those straps. And you, at the time, weren't really going to have heel versus heel with the Midnights versus it wasn't ready. And when it finally did happen, it's a shame that Tully and Arn bounced to the WWE, even though I love the Brainbusters. But, and that was crazy, too, because of liking the NWA more back in the day. Crockett, World Championship Wrestling. And then when they went to WWF, Tully and Arn became the Brainbusters, I cheered for them because if you were from the NWA and you were in the WWF, I liked you more because that meant you were real with it. Like, it's just something about it was like NWA was always my favorite, no matter what. WCCW, of course. So when Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich went over there, of course, even though it was his last couple good years, whatever, or barely that, it was like the end. Sorry, Kerry, your memory and everything. But it wasn't his best compared to the old school. But still, I popped. He couldn't do no wrong because I watched WCCW for a lot of stuff. But with this, though, I can see your point. Like I said, if kayfabe me, yes, pissed me off. But when you look at the way they had to do it and get ready for Tully and Arn to take those straps in, what was it, September, I believe, when the Midnights would jump the Rock and Roll and give the match basically to Tully and Arn, Four Horsemen. It is funny calling them the Four Horsemen, Tully and Arn, instead of you just want to say the Brainbusters. The Brainbuster unit of the Four Horsemen. But no, they... did you watch where Stan Lane's talking shit at the end, though, of course, right?
I missed it. I didn't see that.
Man.
The clip I watched, it cut off, so...
Oh man, I got too bad I can't get to the exact part in it because of the way Spreaker is my setup. Speaking of which, I got a homie right now. Peace to Robin Hood, aka my homie James. He's working on the official Bipolar Box and What the Fuck, another fucking wrestling podcast host site from scratch. So we might be leaving Spreaker. I got my encoders and. HeyYO, and that's even better when the way my old setup used to be, because it will send the shit out, and next thing you know, we're getting even more listeners like I used to do when I had sponsorship back in the day. Thank you to James for lighting a fire up under my ass. The world is yours, Chico. And the world's mine, the world's yours, the world's your mama's, and the world's my mama's, because we gonna buy our mama's houses, we're gonna make those billions and millions, this is zillions of dollars. Because you know what? We are the bad guys of the wrestling podcast game. Fuck these lames. No, but for real, man. Matches like this, though, make you look at modern matches. And if you can find a good modern match that can hold up to something like this, HeyYO, cheers. Top of the morning, L'Chaim, and all that good shit, because that means you're fucking true school wrestling. But as we discussed, that's kind of rare. What was your favorite part, though, of the match? You missed the Stan Lane. You got to go back and watch that. You definitely have to go back and watch that. But what was your favorite part of this match? Any part that stood out the most?
Not really. It was just a good match. And the selling. I like when they did the outside stuff. When the Rock and Roll Express were just kind of just like, yeah, we're kicking, and all of a sudden Bobby just turned around and threw Omos into the railing like, motherfucker, we the heels, bitch, and threw him like bam, and just stopped his momentum right there, and then that's when Gibson came and helped him out because I was hilarious. I'm like, oh shit, did Bobby get mad? And I think that was just to take the steam out of the crowd for a second, and then so they can get it back. I probably think what it was that they probably had a deal to see if they could fuck with the crowd, because that's what it looked like. The Rock and Roll just teeing off on them, and then I don't know, Bobby just turned and threw him into the railing and it was like, damn, what the fuck did happen there? So I like that moment.
Yo, I gotta ask you, man. What do you think of? Oh shit! Hold on. 1 second. What happened here? All right, there we go. There was a little glitch there. Hold on. Looking for a quick little track while I'm gonna. What would you say though, if they had not reversed it? Do you think what's that do later on? What's that fucking do? Looking that we know what we know now. What we know now with the great title reign of Tully and Arn, because, man, that's why it's hard, even though they had great singles career. Once they teamed Tully and Arn up, it was hard to see them. So even though Arn did great again when he came back, and he would catch NWA title in January, TV title in January of 1990 from the Great Muta, technically ending the Great Muta, that fucking TV title reign, which is great that he captured from Sting. And also Muta was like, after, a couple more matches, I'm done. You fuckers, whatever, I don't know what you're doing with me. But it was still hard because it's like, okay, Arn's a single wrestler again. I remember that before, but then, so what's this do then? Let's say that they never reversed it and they kept it. And to Midnight, see, of course, they got to give up the U.S. tag team belts. What's next? I don't know. I think it was meant to be because they knew in their heart they were going to give those tag team straps to fucking Tully and Arn, because that was, people were dying for that tag team. It was like people were drooling over that when they would team up, and they just they happen to be one of the best of all time. So that's why I definitely see. But here's the thing: this is why it's great wrestling. This is why it's like some of the best shit, because you and I are having a nice, good, deep conversation. We're not talking about, well, he's good, but he fucked a blow-up doll in the middle of the ring, or grabbed dicks and blah, blah, blah. Like, I got my homie, peace, blessing, respects to Jeff, and a lot of stuff we do agree on, but there's some stuff I'm like, he likes a lot of new stuff, and I'm like, but I see his point why he likes it because of some of the Japanese influence, but then there's other stuff I'm like, nah, man, I can't side with that, brother. Like, I just can't, man. And but we actually keep it civil because he's not an AEW prick, and I'm not a fucking, anti-AEW stan. I just, I will call it out like you do for the bullshit. And at the same time, though, it doesn't matter. Like I said, the best or the worst of the old school wrestling is even better than the worst and even some of the best of today's stuff. Like just like in music, the worst old school hip hop back in the day is still better than the worst shit today. So wrestling wise, a lot of the matches today can't compare to even the worst matches today are even worse than the fucking old school shit. Like the old school wrestling matches that were kind of are better than a lot of shit today. It's just how it is. Are there good matches today? Are there great matches today? Yes. There's great hip hop. But it's rare sometimes when how things fucking go. That's just a fact. If you don't like it, you can fucking suck the sack, because I'm telling you right now. Oh yeah, speaking of the sack town, it's funny you watch this piece of the Bay Area. It's channel, I think it's at 58 or something in Sacramento. Whoever taped that put it up on YouTube. It was from Sacramento. So that showed the reach though of Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA, like Mid-Atlantic and down south, to reach all the fucking way to, California, Texas, Massachusetts, all through New England, fucking even up into Canada. They were one of the premier leagues, and they were the ones who really gave WWF a big scare, and then later it would morph into WCW. So, but what do you think compared to the WWF of 87 versus Crockett of 87? Which is better?
See, that's tough because they both fit their niche. But if I had to say 87, I'd have to go with the WWF because I was watching when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was watching the WWF, and I didn't even know about fucking NWA until like much later, until like the 90s. So I would have to go with the 87 WWF. Oh, because that's when you had like crazy shit like when I got to see was it 87 where they were doing the Slammy Awards, and the King Harley Race and Jim Duggan got into that led into the back, and they were hitting each other with chickens and animals and a cow, and threw them into like an elephant, and so and
well,
one of the announcers was like
87 for WWF was also Andre and Hogan at WrestleMania 3, along with Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man. You also had the beginning reign, unfortunately, even though in looking back it was actually kind of a smart move. Honky Tonk Man and that ridiculous long-ass IC reign that was